Hey Tribe, in this video, I really want to share with you a case study by Neville Goddard that proves the law of assumption is real. And I love this case study. I love this story by one of his clients that he mentored. I mean, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. It proves the law of assumption is real. And it shows and shares how to get it to work for you in a very, very simple way. I love this story. It's so cute. And I really want you to listen to this. So you need to watch this video and listen to the story if you're trying to get this stuff to work for you, because you're going to learn a thing or two just in this story. So this story is crazy powerful. And lo and behold, let's get rocking and rolling. So this is case study number 3 out of the power of awareness. And by the way, when Neville Goddard wrote the books, almost in all his books, he shared case studies. And even in his live lectures, at the end of the live lecture, he would lots of times share with you stories from personal people that he mentored. So let's get rocking and rolling. This is the story of a very unexpected result of an interview with a lady who came to consult with me. One afternoon, a young grandmother, a businesswoman in New York, came to see me. She brought along her 9-year-old grandson, who was visiting her from his home in Pennsylvania. In response to her questions, I explained the law of assumption, describing in detail the procedure to be followed in attaining an objective. The boy sat quietly, apparently absorbed in a small toy truck, while I explained to the grandmother the method of assuming the state of consciousness that would be hers were her desire already fulfilled. I told her the story of a soldier in camp who each night fell asleep imagining himself to be in his own bed in his own home. When the boy and his grandmother were leaving, he looked up at me with great excitement and said, "I know what I want, and now I know how to get it." Surprised, I asked him what it was he wanted. He told me he had his heart set on a puppy. And this is where the story kind of starts to unfold. I mean, one of the things, when I read this story and I got right here, one of the things that kind of came to me is, okay, here's this little boy, he's 9 years old. He came with his grandmother. His grandmother is actually seeking advice and mentorship by Neville Goddard, whatever it was she was trying to manifest in her life or what she wanted. And as Neville Goddard is sitting there and explaining to her, one of the things that came to me is Neville Goddard had to explain this, like at least in person, he had to explain this very, very simple. I mean, for a little boy to pick up on, and a little boy to literally know that I know how to get what I want. I know what I want, and now I know how to get it. You know, like it had to, I mean, that's what kind of stood out to me in the beginning, because lots of times, especially when we read his material, Neville Goddard, sometimes his material can be really hard to read. Okay, it can be really hard to decipher just depending upon what it is. I mean, he wrote very, very sophisticated, and he kind of wrote like an attorney. I mean, for one, but at least in person, he's had to explain this concepts just so simple. You know what I mean? So you can just get it, and and for a little boy just to get it like that, and that's what astonished Neville Goddard. And so let's continue on with this story. To this, the grandmother vigorously protested, telling the boy that it had been made clear repeatedly that he could not have a dog under any circumstances, that his father and mother would not allow it, that the boy was too young to care for it properly, and furthermore, the father had a deep dislike for the dogs. He actually hated to have one around. All these were arguments the boy, passionately desirous of having a dog, refused to understand. "Now I know what to do," he said. Listen, this is coming from the little boy. This is coming from a 9-year-old. Listen to this. Listen to how much he really believed in Neville Goddard and what Neville Goddard told, not telling him, but telling the grandmother, him just overhearing it, how to get what you want. So the little boy said, "Now I know what to do." So every night, just as I am going off to sleep, I am going to pretend. This is coming from the little boy again. This is coming from the 9-year-old telling Neville Goddard. Okay, I want you to get this inside your imagination here. I want you to understand this. Listen to this. The little boy, this is coming from the little boy. The little boy says, "Now I know what to do," he said. "Every night, just as I am going off to sleep, I am going to pretend that I have a dog, and we are going for a walk." "No," the grandmother said. "That is not what Mr. Neville means. This was not meant for you. You cannot have a dog." And the story continues. Approximately 6 weeks later, the grandmother told me what was to her an astonishing story. The boy's desire to own a dog was so intense that he had absorbed all that I had told his grandmother on how to attain one's desire, and he believed it implicitly that at last he knew how to get a dog. Putting this belief into practice, for many nights the boy imagined a dog was lying in his bed beside him. In imagination, he petted the dog, actually feeling its fur. Things like playing with a dog, taking it for a walk, filled his mind. Within a few weeks, it happened. A newspaper in the city in which the boy lived organized a special program in connection with the Kindness to Animals Week. All school children were requested to write an essay on why I would like to own a dog. After entries from all the schools were submitted and judged, the winner of the contest was announced. The very same boy who weeks before in my apartment in New York had told me, "Now I know how to get a dog," was the winner. In an elaborate ceremony, which was publicized with stories and pictures in the newspaper, the boy was awarded a beautiful collie puppy. Okay, let me continue. It's not over yet. In relating to the story, the grandmother told me that if the boy had been given the money with which to buy a dog, the parents would have refused to do so and would have used it to buy a bond for the boy or put it in a savings bank for him. Furthermore, the grandma stated, if someone had made the boy a gift of a dog, they would have refused it or given it away. That's how much the parents hated animals and hated dogs. But the dramatic manner in which the boy got the dog and the way he won the citywide contest, the stories and the pictures in the newspaper, the pride of achievement, and the joy of the boy himself all combined to bring about a change of heart in the parents. And they found themselves doing that which they never conceived possible. They allowed him to keep the dog. And all this the grandmother explained to me, and she concluded by saying that there was one particular kind of dog on which the boy had set in his heart. It was a collie dog. And when we wrap up this video, I mean, this story, I don't know why I love this story so much. I don't know because, there was a kid involved, a child involved, and the child was just a bystander. Like to Neville Goddard, he was just sitting there, just kind of playing with his toy truck, not paying attention. He's 9 years old. And like I said, one thing that kind of got to me is that Neville had to explain it so simple to the grandmother that the kid picked it up. And from the kid, and he picked it up and he was really listening and he knew what to do. So the kid just believed it, to a child, the child just believed it. The child always wanted a puppy, and also the child probably knew he always asked for a puppy and never got it. Parents always said no. The dad hated dogs. Plus being 9, you're not really old enough to take care of the dog yourself. But he walked away saying to Neville, "Hey, I know what I want, and I know exactly how to get it now." And the child even explained it to Neville. Well, when I go to bed at night, I'm going to pretend in my imagination that the dog is sleeping next to me. I'm going to go inside my imagination and I'm going to take walks with it. I'm going to talk to it. And that's how he drifted off to sleep. But he firmly believed it. I mean, do we firmly believe the power that we really have? Do we firmly believe? I don't want to talk about the law of assumption, but do we firmly believe what we assume to be true has to happen to us? Do we firmly believe that sources inside us, like what we think about, if we just would firmly believe it and firmly believe what we want and set aside being an adult and all the rules and regulations and everything that holds us back in our mind, and we would just play with this concept like a kid, like this 9-year-old did. He just grabbed a hold of it and believed it and played make believe. That's what he did. That's what acting as if is. It's like to a child, it's playing make believe. It's whatever you want, whoever you want to become, play make believe. And the dog he wanted, the whole time he's playing make believe, the make believe, and inside his imagination, he really wanted a collie, and he actually won a collie. You understand? He got exactly what he wanted. And through the law of assumption, through everything, it put the proper pieces in place that the parents let him keep it because just the way he won the dog. Because the parents even said from the grandma that, dude, if he would have just won money to buy a dog, we would have just taken the money and either stuck it in his bank account or got a personal bond for him, and that's it. If another person would just gave him a dog, we would have gave it away. But the reason why we had him keep the dog is because he won the grand prize. It was all over in the newspapers, and he actually won a puppy, and the puppy he really wanted. Okay. And that's the story I just want to share with you. I don't want to go on and on and on about this, but maybe this story isn't as powerful as it was for me, but I just want to share that with you. Okay. So hopefully this helped. Comment below. Love to hear your thoughts. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.